You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Thursday, happy Jupiter day, and welcome to a jam-packed forecast. Venus is coming into a conjunction with Uranus this afternoon. Mars and Saturn are connecting in a trine as well. The moon is moving into Leo. We've got a lot of shifts and changes to talk about, so we'll dive into all of it. Let me know if you're joining me live how the energy is feeling for you. And at the end of our conversation today, I have a few little insights to share with you. No major announcements just yet, but for those of you who are my regulars, you might have noticed some shifts happening in how I'm showing up, and I'm leaning into those. So that will be coming up at the end of the forecast too. Corby is here. Happy Thursday. Hi, Nick. Hello, Bree. Hi, Sarah. Hey, Rachel. So glad you're all here. Terry says, today has been a calm and peace-filled day. So needed it. Looking forward to your insights. It's interesting you say that, Terry, because today's forecast feels like it comes in two parts. So we'll take you through the whole energetic roller coaster that we're heading into. Let's start with a check on birthdays, actually, because it's Aries season and we can't ignore the Aries of the world, right? Especially on a day like March 30th, when both Vincent van Gogh and Celine Dion were born. Celine Dion is Aries energy. Okay, I just saw this video the other day of her like walking down the street and posing for paparazzi and just like striking a pose and being so fierce and so confident and so bold. Like, if you need a little bit of Aries confidence, just put on Celine Dion and scream at the top of your lungs. Nobody's going to sound like Celine, so don't even try, right? Eric Clapton is also an Aries. Piers Morgan, Norah Jones, Tracy Chapman, love that. Warren Beatty, MC Hammer, that tracks. Mark Consuelos is an Aries. Fun fact, his wife Kelly Ripa is a Libra. Very beautiful, balanced dynamic they have going on there. Richard Sherman is an Aries. Lots of notable people to celebrate today. But if someone in our community is celebrating their birthday or has recently celebrated a birthday, please let us know so we can send some love their way. Right? My heart will go on. I heard, and don't quote me on this, but I heard that the version that we all know of My Heart Will Go On was the first time she ever recorded it. Like, again, Aries energy, just one and done, one take. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be fire. On to the next. It's been an easygoing day so far. Love that for you, Corby. Katie says, I'm enjoying this Mars and Cancer opposition to my Capricorn energy. It feels like a softening of how I approach work. Beautiful reflection, Katie. Well, speaking of what's going on, let's pull up the chart. The moon is still technically in Cancer. So you're probably feeling that opposition too, Katie, with the moon moving through Cancer over the past couple of days. You can see, though, that we have Venus and Uranus. This is the headline of the day, this conjunction that we've been feeling rumblings of for a couple days now. And I think this conjunction is much bigger than just the shifts that are happening right now. We'll get into that in a moment. We also have this trine between Mars and Saturn at 2 degrees that we're really feeling right now. And in the background, the sun and Lilith are still in their own harmony too. So there's a lot of balance and flow and harmony and empowerment and intuition that's on our side. We're going to be diving into conversations about big changes, big shifts, breakdowns, breakthroughs, innovations, all things that come along with talking about Uranus. But no, I look at these blue lines, okay? There's a lot of balance, there's a lot of harmony on our side today. So know that you can flow with whatever comes up, and there's a lot of positive energy here. There's a lot of good fortune that we can pull from whatever the universe throws at us. Let's start though with this conjunction, because this is what we're feeling the most strongly. This isn't technically in chronological order, but Venus is conjunct Uranus. There is no order. It's all chaos, right? Still feeling off, just stuck in my head. You know, Rachel, this is a good point to look at your chart. See, where does 15, 16 degrees of Taurus fall in your chart? Because that could be where the disruption, the innovation, the discomfort is coming up for you. Let's just talk about this general energy, though, of Venus conjunct Uranus. This happens about once a year. And the last time it happened was actually on June 11th, 2022. So if that date means something for you, you might be revisiting something that popped up or changed back then. Venus is the planet of love, money, beauty, and our values. It's what we want to attract into our lives and how we attract it. And specifically with Venus and Taurus, Venus loves to be in Taurus. Venus rules Taurus. We want that physical abundance, baby. We're trying to attract physical value into our world right now. So in general, you might be noticing spring is upon us, wanting to call in more physical abundance, love, beauty. Love is physical abundance in one way or another, right? Wanting to call in relationships. This conjunction to Uranus is what's creating shifts and innovation in a lot of ways. But it's the reminder that sometimes a breakthrough starts with a breakdown. That's the story of Uranus, right? Nicknamed the murder planet, the disruptor. It's a very rebellious energy. And so it's again that reminder that you have to challenge convention in order to upgrade or make things better. That's ultimately what Uranus wants us to do. It wants us to get to that next level and see things differently, but sometimes it'll throw a wrench in our plans, in our relationships, in our finances with this conjunction to Venus in order to force us to see a new perspective or a different way of doing things. And Uranus has been in Taurus forever. Uranus takes about 7 years to move through a sign. So it's only about halfway through its transit. And on a day like today, when you're honing in and you're looking at the chart and seeing, okay, where does the midpoint of Taurus fall in my chart? This could be a nice point to zoom out and say, okay, over the past 3 or 4 years, what has transformed in my physical surroundings, in my physical world, or in the area of my life that is ruled by Taurus in my chart? And also looking ahead to the second half of Taurus and leaning into what is going to continue to shift and change and see major upgrades as Uranus continues its transit. With Venus being on top of Uranus right now, it's really bringing awareness to where the disruptor is in our chart. I love conjunctions because they're a blending of the energy. I think I've given you all this example before, but I like to think of us on Earth receiving energy from the planets around us in our solar system, like little lightsaber beams, right? Like the moon is beaming its energy down to us. Saturn is beaming his energy down to us. When we have a conjunction, it's as if those beams are merged or they're both beaming down from the same place in the sky. So we're experiencing a blending of their energies. And manifestation comes to mind when I look at this conjunction because Venus and Taurus feels like physical manifestation. Uranus in Taurus feels like physical innovation. So this is like the infusion of both of those things, allowing for major upgrades, major physical upgrades, major upgrades when it comes to your appearance, your home, the beauty around you. You might even notice shifts in your environment, with Taurus being the sign that's most closely associated with nature and the earth and the 3D world. You might look outside your window today and be like, wow, flowers are blooming and I'm starting to see buds. Like, there could be a physical shift that you're experiencing. How does that mirror the internal shift that's happening for you? How are your values changing? And as you assess, maybe even journal out, what's important to me? How has that changed? That could help you funnel your energy into a direction that's most aligned with who you are in this moment and who you're becoming, and call in what you want to manifest. Part of that is knowing what you want, right? So this Venus-Uranus conjunction is a great opportunity to be like, how has what I want or what I'm trying to manifest, how has that changed? Trying to be fixed on like, this is the one life I'm calling in and this is what it's going to look like. That's great, but we're humans. We're allowed to change our mind. We're allowed to change our values. We're allowed to change what we want. And today is that day where, if we're not reflecting on it and in the mode of being flexible and moving with the changes, they could kind of slap us in the face. Hi, Court. Crazy little thing called love. That's a great song for today. I wish I would have seen your comment before I picked my song for the little reel I post every day. And yes, sending love. All transits are temporary. All emotions are temporary. One of my friends just posted something yesterday that an emotion only lives in the body for 90 seconds if we allow it to pass through us. That could be a helpful tip today with some of the other energy we're going to be talking about. Letting energy pass through you, move through you, letting it flow rather than getting stuck and fixating on it, right? Yeah, I figured it's in your 8th house, trining that Neptune Capricorn conjunction. A lot of us millennials who have the Neptune Capricorn conjunction in, Neptune Uranus conjunction in Capricorn are going to experience a nice trine, a balanced connection to this Venus Uranus conjunction. So we're flowing through change. We've got big dreams. We have got these big ideas of what our most beautiful life will look like. And for millennials, this transit might be like a beautiful shift and flow and transition, if that shows up in your chart too. But Rachel's a great example of this conjunction is happening in your 8th house. The 8th house is all about shadows and deeper energetic connections. There could be some breaking of relationships and bonds and financial obligations for you with this playing out in your 8th house. It might feel a little bit more like that breakdown before the breakthrough comes and these planets move into your 9th house. So hang in there. It's going to be okay. We're here for you. You have support. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, I'm feeling it too, Corby. She says, definitely feeling that change. It's like a graduation from one season of life to the next. And this next one is all about bursting forth. I just pictured like a flower blooming. Yes. How are you innovating? How are you upgrading? These are questions to ask yourself. Yeah, and great point, Corby. Thankful that Rachel has the awareness of the shadows. It's such a beautiful thing to know, okay, there's something happening in my 8th house. It's okay to be in the darkness a little bit. It's okay to be feeling the shadows. That is natural. That's natural. And Rachel, is this loosely opposing your moon too? Because that could be adding a little bit of emotion to the equation, right? Sarah says her sun, moon, and Mercury are all in Aries with a Libra rising. So you're feeling all the Aries energy for sure. I've been thinking about everybody here. I love this. And the moon, it's moving into Leo this afternoon. We'll get there. We'll get there. Lots of 8th house. A lot of people feeling 8th house energy today. Katie says, I'm planning for my trip away. I think 10 days away from my family is going to bring a lot of positive and needed changes. That could, big plans have been in the forecast this week too. I love that you're doing that for yourself, Katie. Yeah, slightly opposing your moon-Pluto conjunction. Give yourself grace. Regardless of how this is showing up in your chart, give yourself and give other people grace today. I think it's also funny that I happen to be getting my hair cut for the first time in like 6 months. It's way overdue. And I happened to schedule it today without realizing it. Physical changes to our appearance are definitely part of the forecast. I would avoid being impulsive about it. Even I had this like, ooh, should I really do that today? But luckily, I'm going to someone who has cut my hair tons of times and I fully trust. But if you're like, I want to get a tattoo right now, I want to change my physical appearance, slow your roll, Turbo, okay? Like the Venus-Uranus conjunction could bring this like need for a thrill or this like intense need to be in relationship and connect with other people with Venus and Taurus. Maybe a little bit of physical needs coming up, like sensual needs that feel urgent, and we want to try something different between the sheets. We want to try something new, maybe a new partner, or yeah, you might even feel like you want to spend money and again, call in like physical items to you, but it could be a little bit abrupt or impulsive, especially because it's Aries season too. There's already that energy of impulse. So recognize that if it's coming up for you, like, I just really need to make a change right now in these areas. Also, expect the unexpected. Uranus brings surprises. So surprises in love, money, and beauty are definitely possible today. And I'm a firm believer that we can work with this energy. Like I did a little, I am looking for some financial upgrades and used this conjunction to try to call them in, to try to manifest them. Uranus doesn't always have to be like a scary planet to work with. And there's this chant or like little mantra that I've seen on TikTok and Instagram. And it felt like a little spell I was casting right before I sent the request. It's, I think I might've done it for you guys before. It's like, money comes to me easily. Money comes to me fast. Money loves my company. When money comes, it lasts. So I did that a couple times because I'm like, all right, Venus and Uranus, work your magic. Let's create some financial shifts here. Let's call in the abundance. I love a conjunction because it does feel like, yeah, this conjunction might be a little abrupt. It might feel like the earth is kind of shaking under our feet, but there's also a gift with the instability this causes. There's a gift to change. There's a gift to work with the energy and move through it and take the upgrades as the opportunities are presented. So sometimes it takes the earth shaking for us to see like, oh, maybe we should step that way. And maybe there's more stable ground over there, especially with Venus and Uranus connecting in Taurus, which is a fixed sign. And if you ask me, maybe the most fixed sign, very stubborn. Sometimes it takes our physical environment or some sort of abrupt change to allow us to get out of that fixed mindset of this is how it has to be, and this is my goal, and this is where I'm going. Sometimes the universe shakes up the little snow globe that we're living in so we can see things differently. Change could also come a little more suddenly than we expect, but there's also this craving for change. Venus is this, what we're trying to attract, what we're craving, right? So stay flexible, stay open to surprises. And if they pop up, I say just be like, okay, Uranus, I see you. What are you trying to do here? How can I work with you? Try not to resist them. There's one more thing I would like to say about this conjunction and just intuitively feeling into it. But first, I love you all. I just want to see that light. Rachel says, you don't have to look for it. You are the light, Rachel. You are your own light. We see you so bright. We got you. We're so glad you're here. Yeah. It's not going to be a major haircut. Don't worry. But I do feel like this shedding, right? This conjunction is moving out of my 8th house. And I'm like, and the sun is moving into my 8th house. I'm like, all right, it's time to cut off some dead energy. And it's quite literally very dead. So tomorrow, it's really not going to look that different, I don't think. But you never know. Venus is conjunct Uranus. Hopefully I don't end up with a bob again. I want a new look. Yeah, that is the vibe of today. Definitely. Yes. Send those money emojis my way, Sarah. Yes, please. need to save money, but wasted money on my day-to-day life. Wish more would manifest and roll back in because money sure goes fast. Visualize that money coming to you. Anything is possible today in these changes the universe is throwing at us. Yeah. I have Taurus in the 6th house. Interesting that you're talking about spending money day to day. 6th house is that day-to-day routine, right? So maybe you are supposed to spend money on your day-to-day stuff. How can you view the situation a little differently under today's Venus-Uranus conjunction? It can be scary to take action regarding money, but I'm manifesting trust in the universe and trust into my intuition. It's going to flow perfectly into the next transit we're talking about. But I want to say one last thing about this while it's on my brain. I was feeling like, okay, this Venus-Uranus conjunction, Uranus has been telling this long-term story in Taurus. And I remembered last year's solar eclipse in Taurus back in April was conjunct Uranus. We have one more eclipse on the Taurus-Scorpio axis that will be happening on May 5th. It's a lunar eclipse in Scorpio. So it feels like Venus coming into a conjunction with Uranus is this really potent opportunity to reflect on the shifts that have happened through those eclipses on the Taurus-Scorpio axis, maybe since that solar eclipse in Taurus last year. I remember some big things, some big shifts came in for me, at least during that solar eclipse. And it feels like there is over the last almost year now, there's been a shift in my values, a shift in my appearance, a shift in what I find to be attractive, and definitely a financial shift that really stemmed from some big insights and opportunities that dropped in during that solar eclipse. And we're sort of linked to all of the eclipses over the past year. So as we begin to wrap up this eclipse cycle on the Taurus-Scorpio axis, I encourage you to just use this energy and reflect on what has changed for you since then. And what's coming up today, maybe some disruptions, shifts, insights. Uranus can be very intuitive and insightful as well. Whatever's coming up today or this week or over the next couple of days could set the stage for the alignment and the revelations that we have under that lunar eclipse in Scorpio. So we're still a little over a month away from that, but it just felt like it really wanted to be talked about, especially because next month's lunar eclipse in Scorpio will be at 14 degrees. So the sun will be very close to Uranus during that eclipse, technically conjunct Uranus, and it's like the sun will be moving over right where Venus is right now. So Venus is like, what do you want? What are you calling in? How has that changed? How is that shifting? And that eclipse, very close to this same point on the axis, could bring in the alignment or reveal some hidden information, especially with it being a lunar eclipse in Scorpio, that allows you, it's like the missing piece might come through to allow you to actually call in that vision or that desire that might be bubbling up for you today. So it felt like the eclipses really wanted to be talked about and are certainly linked to what's going on in this energy today. Sarah says, natal Uranus is in her 2nd house and Venus in the 8th. Interesting. There's a lot of money stuff coming up there for you. I like that. Conjunction transiting in the 8th now, just trying to mentally piece this together for a bigger picture. It's like your money versus other people's money, your values versus other people's values. There could be some tension playing out there for you, Sarah. Corby, coming in with an affirmation. I'm open, I'm ready, remaining flexible. Yes, I subscribe to that 100%. Oh, Terry, I just don't want to be afraid anymore. What would happen if you just fully faced your fears? Today could be a day to do that. Oh my gosh, I feel like you guys are just like bringing in so much stuff that we're about to talk about. So I want to come back to Katie's comment. It can be scary to take action regarding money, but trust in the universe and trust in my intuition. Let me pull up the next transit we're talking about, okay? Because your comment is quite literally perfect for this energy. Mars harmonizing with Saturn. This is a harmonious, balanced 120-degree angle between Mars, the planet of action. Katie talking about it can be scary to take action, and Saturn, the planet of authority, lessons, boundaries, limitations. Saturn in Pisces definitely softens that Saturn energy, if you ask me. And when Mars and Saturn harmonize like this, you can see them here, this blue line representing flow and balance and ease and natural energy exchange. When Mars and Saturn connect like this, it's natural to step into our authority. It's natural to step into leadership positions. It's natural to sort of take charge and take action. But Saturn helps kind of pace us here. Mars on its own just wants to go right now. I love Mars in Cancer as well because it's like moving by feel, moving from our intuition, trusting that our emotions are kind of our compass. Like before making a move, asking our body, how does that feel for you? And noticing what comes up, remembering that your body is an intelligent source in itself. Your body is part of your overall being. And so checking in with how things feel in your body before you move. And Saturn in Pisces is that trust, right? That trust in a higher power, trust in a higher authority. I think we'll see a lot more spiritual teachings coming out and becoming more mainstream with Saturn and Pisces. So all that being said, it's like Mars and Saturn are on our side today and allowing us to, a bird just flew right outside my window, allowing us to trust in ourselves, trust in our intuition, trust in the universe as a whole as we move through changes. Yeah, Nick, that gut hell yeah or hell no you mentioned the other day. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. And that is the Mars-Saturn trine. Like, does it feel good to take that action? If it's not feeling good, the Venus-Uranus conjunction could be like, hey, it's time to make a change here because your values might have shifted. That might have felt good before. That might have been in alignment with your values. But if it's not feeling good in your body right now, it's a no. It's a no. And, you know, listening to your inner authority might ruffle other people's feathers. Venus is conjunct Uranus. You might be the disruption. Your intuition might be disrupting what you think you want or what other people think you should want or should do. But we're just shitting all over ourselves, right? Like, so yeah, Nick, like going against the wood grain. So noticing where your body naturally wants you to make a shift, where your intuition is like, is there something that keeps coming up? And this trine between Mars and Saturn just feels like it's allowing us to flow through these changes, these shifts, these transitions, these breakdowns, these breakthroughs that are coming up today, while still tapped into our maturity, while still tapped into our intuition, while still having that confidence. This Mars Saturn trine can give us this like gentle confidence that we are capable of moving forward and taking charge of whatever comes our way. But with it playing out in water signs, this trine is gentle. It is intuitive. It does feel more nurturing. So kind of nurturing your own intuition, you know, like, okay, I got to take care of my body and how it's feeling first before I just continue charging ahead. And this is a nice connection that like allows us to sink a little deeper into the energies of Saturn that has just moved into Pisces in the last couple weeks and Mars that has just moved into Cancer in the last week. Like, okay, these two planets are connecting with each other, really bringing awareness to the watery energy they're now moving through. So certainly a day of heightened intuition, and Uranus taps us into our intuition as well. I want to say that again and remind you. So trust your intuition, trust the signals your body is sending, trust that gut feeling that you're getting, especially with Mars in Cancer. Trust your gut. Yeah. And very interesting about the coming eclipse. Like, how can you move and flow more easily? That's another question this trine is asking. How can you let it be a little easier, a little more intuitive? And we're actually feeling this exact trine right now. So this could be a moment, if you're joining me live, to just check in with your gut. Like, how's my body feeling? almost Saturn is like that inner parent. I like to think of the planets as sort of different parts of ourselves, like our inner child. I feel like Saturn's like our inner adult, right? And with Saturn and Pisces, it's like, how can your inner adult be a little more compassionate for yourself, for the changes that are happening, for the feelings that are coming up in your body? There's just this level of trust and gentle authority. I feel like I've said that over and over again. There's also an ability to move towards success pretty naturally here with Mars and Saturn connecting, because both planets are very ambitious and want to move forward. There's a natural sense of like, okay, we got to keep going, but in a nice flowy way, with it playing out in water signs. And don't worry if the pace you're moving at feels slow, like you're kind of treading water or moving through water. That is a gift that this Mars Saturn trine brings us, is the ability to slow down and gently move through whatever's coming up, because the Venus Uranus conjunction and the moon moving into Leo might make us feel like we want to move faster. This trine is like, there's no rush. Just trust the process, trust the timing. Saturn and Pisces, that is a huge message from Saturn and Pisces. Trust the timing of your life. Saturn is the time lord. Pisces is all about trust and surrendering to a higher power. Trust in the timing of your life. Be mature, be responsible, be gentle with yourself, be gentle with other people. And the last thing I'll say about this is this Saturn Mars trine could help us step into compassionate authority. Like if other people are not doing well amidst the changes, it's like, how can we be that nurturing place, that soft place for them to land and be like, it's okay, everybody. We got this. We're all together. Saturn and Pisces also very much tapping us into like universal consciousness. So we're all learning these lessons together. We're all flowing through these changes together. We're all moving as one. And the collective intuition knows what needs to happen next, right? So trust your body, trust yourself, have compassion. Ooh, I'm glad you think so, Brie. This episode is so juicy. I love it. I love that. Yes, all in divine timing. Be patient, feeling the love. Yes. Katie says, it doesn't feel good to be in dark places, but I've noticed a hunger for higher love coming from these places. Kind of like absence makes the heart grow fonder and motivates me to take action. Yes, I feel this so deeply, Katie, because my biggest breakthroughs have come, very Uranus energy, right? Have come from facing my darkness and being like, okay, what's got to change here? So that could be coming up for you too. And I'll just use an example that I felt last week. This is just not necessarily related to today's energy, but I was in like a lot of physical pain last week, dealing with like a lot of body stuff. And last, I think Friday morning, I woke up and I wasn't in pain anymore. And I was like, wow, how good does it feel to just feel normal, to not really like feel anything, right? But I found myself all week being like, gosh, I just can't wait to feel okay again. And that can be kind of a metaphor for what you're talking about, like being in the pain, being in the dark places. You're like, I'm just craving feeling normal or feeling good again. And then when you get to that place where it's like, wow, life is beautiful, life is good, you kind of appreciate it more than if that was just the constant all day, every day. Yeah, Katie says, having said that, I'm really having to trust the timing. I have plans for my life after I get home from Ireland, and I really have to let go of acting on them until I get back. The universe is pushing me to be patient. There's where the be patient comes in. Yes, trust in the timing. Trust in the timing. I'm really feeling that message as well because, like I said, I've got some shifts and changes that are working through my business. And there are things, little seeds that have been planted over the past really like 6 months now that I'm like, oh, okay, now I understand what to do with this. So trusting in the timing. Even if you have an idea and you, especially today, you got an exciting idea, you want to act on it, trust in the timing. You don't have to do it all right now. If it's meant for you, it will not pass you by. I'm so grateful to have you in my community, Brie. I love you. I missed Rachel's comment about Friday. I was feeling this yesterday. I acted on that urge to start my one-on-one mentorship at the spiritual shop. My consultation is next Friday now. Okay, big shifts and changes coming in for you. And I have a feeling it's going to be that next level. Maybe Venus will be in your 9th house by then. Leveling up. I love that. Love it. Yes, the dark night of the souls bring us to our highest selves and brightest light. Absolutely. Definitely. Yes, you are going to be an amazing mentor. I am so excited for you, Rachel. Okay, so let's talk about the moon. Let's talk about the moon because there's one more theme I'd like to bring up. We've been feeling the first quarter moon in Cancer, really amplifying the message of moving from our intuition, feeling it out as we take action. The moon in Cancer formed a trine to Neptune this morning, about 6 a.m. Pacific time, 9 a.m. Eastern time. So I love how when we first came on, a lot of you were saying it's been chill, it's been calm, it's been a little sleepy, a little slow. That would be the moon and Neptune connecting, right? Vivid dreams. I know a lot of people had some really powerful vivid dreams early this morning or last night. It might have been harder to get out of bed as well, just kind of wanting to stay in that dream state. We're certainly more open, more intuitive this morning as the moon in Cancer makes its final connection, which is that trine to Neptune. So our intuition is peaking this morning. Pay attention to any messages that came through dreams or just any random feelings you're getting. Again, gut feelings. Pay attention to those this morning. The moon is actually void right now. So we haven't been talking about void moons as much lately because we've had Pluto at 29 degrees. We've had Saturn at 29 degrees for what seems like forever. And now we have no planets at the very end degrees of any sign. So we're going to start talking about void moons a little bit more. And as a reminder, if you're new here, a void moon is when the moon has made its final connection in that sign and is not going to make any more connections. So it's kind of this lull in the energy. I love this void moon for us. I love this void moon for us because keep in mind, the Venus-Uranus conjunction is at 3:25 p.m. exactly. The moon moves into Leo like 7 minutes later at 3:32 p.m. So 3:30-ish Pacific time, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time is when the energy is really going to start to shift and change and big moments might happen, okay? Until then, we can really lean into that Mars-Saturn trine. We can really lean into this void moon and take care of our responsibilities, tie up loose ends, finish our to-do list, kind of prepare ourselves for the excitement that could pop up tonight. Because when the moon moves into Leo, there's really no telling what could happen. So get your shit in order now, okay? Like get things together, take advantage of the slowness, that Mars-Saturn trine, really feeling into your own authority, your own intuition before the universe potentially throws a wrench in your day, a wrench in your plans. Again, that is definitely possible as of this afternoon because that's when the changes are happening. So let's talk about it. Wow, you had super vivid dreams last night too. I believe that. I definitely believe that. I had friends were in our group message talking about how they saw each other in their dreams and had similar themes popping up. A lot of water messages coming through as well, which is very interesting with the moon harmonizing with Neptune, both in water signs. So yeah, if you remember any of your dreams, might be worth it to look into the messaging behind those or dig a little deeper into yourself, even just trusting your own intuition about what messages those dreams carry. Okay, let's talk about the moon moving into Leo now because it's going to be dramatic. I mean, the moon in Leo can already be a little dramatic, let's be honest, but whoo, okay. They were all themed around family. Interesting with the moon in Cancer. And I think you've got some stuff going on in your 4th house as well. Okay, let's fast forward on the chart here because this is something that I think we should all just see with our own eyeballs, okay? Did I go too far? A little bit. Let's see. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Right when the moon moves into Leo it immediately opposes Pluto in Aquarius at 0 degrees. Okay, we are eager for transformation. We want it to happen. We want those changes to unfold immediately. We want to be in control of the changes. We might even find ourselves trying to manipulate a situation or gain power over someone else in order to force those changes to happen. I would suggest avoiding that. Generally not a great way of relating to other people, but you do you, honey. But yeah, the moon opposing Pluto, power struggles are possible, really intense emotions that are surfacing and becoming very clear to us. It's interesting that Terry says the moon is crossing over my natal Pluto in Leo as well, because that means Pluto is coming into an opposition with your Pluto. So this is a very peak moment of transformation over the coming months for you, Terry. Something to keep in mind. And that could be very exciting. It could be very intense as well. That goes for all of us. When the moon moves into Leo, it's like our inner child can come out and be expressed, and our most authentic self can sort of take center stage. How we truly feel is out for the world to see. It might even be like, we need to show this off or like perform it out so people really understand how we feel. If channeled wisely, the energy of the Leo moon is really beautiful for creative endeavors, for feeling like we're truly seen for who we are. But it's just as easy for our inner toddler to take the wheel as it is for our inner child. So avoid tantruming. That especially goes for right when the moon shifts into Leo and opposes Pluto, because that is kind of some tantrum energy. Also, facing our fears could be a big theme. And I love that Terry already brought that up. Interesting that you're feeling such influence from Pluto as well, with Pluto opposing your Pluto. She says, I just don't want to be afraid anymore. For all of us with this opposition to Pluto, but especially for you, Terry, with the moon moving over your Pluto, all of that action going on, facing our fears is the key to overcoming them, right? So I just don't want to be afraid anymore. Okay, well, what are you afraid of? And what would happen if you just faced that thing, right? Would it still be quite as scary if you went into the dark and saw what was hiding there? It sounds scary. Yes, absolutely. But you are capable. You are brave. Rachel said, same thing this morning. I'm tired of living in fear and insecurities. This moon opposition to Pluto this afternoon is emotionally facing our fears, our insecurities, our the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions that hide in the shadows of our subconscious. What's been lying beneath everything that's coming up at surface level? The moon opposing Pluto is like, okay, we're going to take a look very deep right now. And remembering that you're here, you are committed to having this awareness for yourself, this awareness for the people around you, but not everybody is on that path. So people around you might be disruptive or controlling or manipulative or dark or intense today. Leaning into that trine between Mars and Saturn. How can I be the gentle authority? How can I take care of myself? How can I show up with more compassion for other people as well? Taurus in your 4th house, opposing Pluto. So the Venus-Uranus conjunction is creating some activation to your natal Pluto as well. A lot of Pluto energy coming in from everybody today. And remember, Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth. It's similar to Uranus, just not quite as abrupt. It's more about like really investigating the shadows, going deep and seeing what lies there. And that process is very alchemical. It's very transformative. It's the long-term transformation, whereas Uranus is like change in the moment, that lightning fast change that we might not even expect. It feels with both planets being activated right now, and especially with Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius, like the big shifts that are taking place with the Venus-Uranus conjunction are definitely part of this overall long-term transformation that's happening collectively and in the story of our individual lives as well. Yeah, earthquakes, changes in weather. Absolutely. Venus conjunct Uranus in Taurus. I could definitely see some changes in weather and disturbances and things like that today. And maybe something like one weather event. This is a great analogy for Uranus and Pluto. Like dramatic weather this week today is signaling an overall collective transformation that we're going through. Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Aquarius is about the collective. Aquarius is about humanity and the world. And we're just embarking on this long-term transformation of humanity over the next 15 years. So there are no coincidences. And I could see if something disruptive happens in the weather today, that kind of forcing a shift in how, in perspective, and how we're all viewing what's going on with the climate and the weather. Yes, Pluto is the phoenix rising from the ashes, but first it combusts, it burns up. So yeah, what is dying, what is burning down in order to create space for this next innovation, this next evolution of yourself? This is a very transformative forecast today in a lot of different ways. And I want to pull up one more. We didn't talk about this energy yesterday because I didn't go live. So this is still playing out in the background, this trine between the sun and Lilith. And you can see it on the chart here still today. This is that reminder to check in with your power. The sun harmonizing with Lilith is like, what's been repressed? Another opportunity to go into our shadows. What desires have we been pushing down? If we allow ourselves to shine light on them and see them and for them to surface very naturally, that could also set the stage for the shifts that are happening under this Venus-Uranus conjunction. So remembering your authority, remembering your power. The sun harmonizing with Lilith and fire signs could also make us a little bitchy, a little overly passionate. So check yourself before you wreck yourself, especially when the moon moves into Leo, okay? Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Know that shifts, changes, disruptions, outbursts, all of that is already in the forecast today. We're not in control. We don't know what's going to happen this afternoon. All we can do is control ourselves. And the sun harmonizing with Lilith is that reminder as well. Lilith energy can make us want to control and manipulate, similar to Pluto, but like we just want to be in charge with Lilith energy. And remember, we're only in charge of ourselves and how we react in our own emotions. Terry says we have severe storms for tomorrow. Yeah, so Venus, Uranus making their presence known in the physical plane, right? Katie says it's finally sunny here, and a different way that the weather might be changing in certain parts of the world. Yeah, maybe that could be a disruption breaking through the clouds, seeing the light. Venus-Uranus conjunction can bring through those insights, right? Those light codes, those downloads as well about, a repressed desire or something you really want, or how your desires are changing, how they're shifting. We've got a lot going on today. That is powerful, powerful stuff. And that is you reclaiming your power. Rachel says, I really felt Lilith's presence yesterday. I actually said I don't want to talk because my Lilith is coming out. Remembering all you can do is tap into your own power and control how you react. And that is growth for so many of us, myself included, being like, I am not going to be the best version of myself, so I need to take some space. Yes, but I felt like it helped me speak my truth and be honest with myself and the other person. Reclaiming your power through working with Lilith. I love this. Lightning and thunder, where Terry is. Crazy. Okay. Venus, Uranus, making some crazy abrupt weather changes where you live. All right. Let's come back to today's affirmation. I trust the changes unfolding for my highest good. I trust the changes unfolding for my highest good. Really leaning into intuition, trust, knowing that we're not meant to stay the same. If we aren't actively innovating and upgrading our lives, sometimes the universe will create a situation that does that for us. And even if we think, oh, this is where we're going, this is what we're doing, if that's not the path for our highest good, and how do we know? We're not in charge. We're not in control here. We don't know this like grand vision for our life, that at least this is what I believe, that there are higher selves, God, Goddess, Spirit, the universe has big plans in store for each and every one of us. And when we try to control that and force it and be like, no, well, this is where I'm going, this is the vision for my life, sometimes the universe will slap us in the face and be like, that's not actually for your highest good. So I'm going to throw this challenge or this change of plans in the way to force you to see what is for your highest good, or to force you to start walking in this direction a little more towards your highest good. So trusting in the changes of today. I trust in the changes unfolding for my highest good. And we'll finish up with a card pull. This is a new deck that you all haven't seen before. It's the Goddess Spirit Oracle deck. I got it a few weeks ago at a shop in town, and I've been waiting for the right time to pull it out and pull from it all with you. And I figure on a day like today, where we're really feeling Venus's influence, you know, Venus is that goddess energy. So we'll see what goddess has a message for us. As always, this is your time to ask any final questions, share any final insights. Let me know if you have an affirmation of your own or a mantra that's helping you when life seems a little chaotic, because life could definitely seem chaotic this afternoon. Corby says, definitely feeling the desires I previously had changing. You and me both, Corby. Just went cold turkey on some stuff. Like it once was something I needed, but now not so much. Today's a day to make those changes, right? Noticing, how have my desires changed? How has what I really want changed? And are my actions in alignment? The opposite of fear is courage. Yeah. And I think also awareness, right? Like if we're not aware of our fears, they're just driving our subconscious. That's very Plutonian. If it's just hiding in the shadows and we're not aware of it, subconsciously we're operating from that place. But if we can really address, wow, that's what I'm afraid of, it becomes less scary. And that awareness allows our subconscious to be like, oh, I don't have to operate from that place anymore. Yes, right? New deck. Okay, let's all take one big deep breath together. The deepest breath you've taken all day, a gift that you can give to yourself in this moment. And as we exhale, sending energy into the cards, asking the goddess, what do we need to know? Ready? Here we go. Breathing in nice and deep. Taking your time, getting to the top and holding. And release. What do we need to know? Ooh, good card. The goddess we got is Danu. I've never heard of this goddess before. Danu, D-A-N-U. And it's card number 13, which is a magical number that represents divine feminine energy. And on the card, it says spiritual learning and ascension. So perfect for today, right? With so much disruption. Part of the ascension process is disruption. Here is the message Danu is bringing us. In tarot, she represents the Hierophant. She's a Celtic and Irish goddess, and she is said to be the oldest of the Celtic deities from pre-Gaelic times of ancient earth-based spirituality. The Tuatha De Dananns, the children of Danu, followed her as their creator mother goddess. The essence of divine knowledge, she teaches our oneness with divine source and the power to create the life we desire and fully connect with our soul. Our truth is always expanding. You are tuning in to your wholeness. How do you wish to explore your spiritual self? As you expand, so does your higher being and the collective. My divine self is ever expanding with love. My divine self is ever expanding with love. This card. Yes, please. Our truth is always expanding. I love this with Mars in Cancer, with Saturn in Pisces. Our truth is always expanding. That feels like really pointing to the energy of moving forward with trust. And also, how do you wish to explore your spiritual self? Saturn in Pisces, for sure, with Mars on the other end of that trine. And then the Venus-Uranus conjunction as well. I love that this creator mother goddess that was certainly linked to, sounds like paganism, worshiping the earth, came through today as well. with Venus in an earth sign, with Uranus literally changing the landscape of the physical earth. This goddess comes through, reminding us of our oneness with divine source and the power to create the life we desire and fully connect with our soul. The power to create the life we desire, tapping into that message of manifestation as well that came through in this forecast. Thank you, Goddess Danu. Hopefully I'm saying her name right, but love her. So glad we pulled from this deck. You know, the Irish synchronicity, you're talking about Ireland. Maybe this is a goddess you can work with while you're there to help you learn spiritually and tap into that collective consciousness of your ancestry from Ireland. Yes. Staying open to change is for my highest good. Trusting my intuitive action. Again, such an aligned affirmation for this card, for the forecast. Yes, yes, yes. Reflects a thought I had yesterday about leaving room for evolution. And the last thing, I'm so glad you said that, Corby. The message that this card brought through, I want to read it exactly again. As you expand, so does your higher being and the collective. And what was the other message? There was something else I read that was like, yes. Oh, our truth is always expanding. Our desires are always expanding, leaving room for evolution. It's okay if you don't want what you used to want. It's okay if your values have changed. We are allowed to evolve. That's part of being human. So giving yourself that permission to have room for evolution, to change your mind, to change what you want on a day like today. Absolutely. Leaving room for growth, leaving room for the universe to come in and move some things around for your highest good. Trusting in the process, trusting in the divine timing, trusting in spirit, God, universe, the goddess, whatever that higher power looks like for you, trusting that everything is unfolding for your highest good. All right, that is going to do it for our forecast today. Really quickly, I just want to share with you all kind of what's happening with me because I know you're all invested and I am just continually so blown away by the graciousness and the community that you have all created with me here. The Mercury-Jupiter conjunction earlier in the week brought through a big download, and I think how I'm showing up live is going to shift a little bit in the coming month. Still definitely doing transits for you on a daily basis, but how that looks might be a little different. I want to, speaking of leaving room for evolution, create a little bit more space for myself in my schedule to bring back the spiritual journalist, which I've been wanting to do for months now and just really have not had the space, and to show up when it feels best for me, like really feeling intuitively into when I am in the right energy to channel and be here with you all. So with that being said, I also love the intimacy that we've created in this community. So I'll be announcing more concrete plans as the plans become more concrete over the next couple of weeks. Thank you, Court. But I want to also bring more astrologers to you and do more interviews and bring other people's perspectives in because I don't know everything, right? I'm just one human with one brain that's pulling in information that's available to me and seeing things from my own perspective. So yeah, I think you'll be seeing some shifts, maybe a little bit of a name change in what we're calling this community, and then also creating some opportunities for those of you who do want more of a deeper connection and a conversation to connect in a little bit more of an intimate space online. So for those of you who watch and you're like, I'm just here to get to know what's going on today. I want something quick and digestible to figure out how do I work with the energy of the day today. I am going to create more content specifically catered to you. And then also this beautiful community we've created together. I want to create a space that is for us and for the people who are looking for more connection and investment and deeper knowledge and like, oh, this is showing up in my chart here. What does this mean for me? So we can have those deeper conversations. Because you know me, if we start talking about someone's chart, I just get totally, not that we won't still do that, but I can just get deeply into like, oh, this is what's showing up for you, you know? So I want to create a space for that conversation. I love you, Terry. I'm on board. She's ready. Okay, good. No matter how you decide to show up, I will be here when I can. I love you, Corby. I love this beautiful community. We love having you here. And I think also creating like a more intimate space. What I noticed during our transit tracking course is that when we were a part of a chat and part of like more of a closed container in a little mini community, there was more of a connection and bond created between a lot of you. So I want to keep that going as well. And yes, if you all have any ideas, I'm totally open to hearing them too. As I move through this shift and through this change, it felt like today was an appropriate day to share with you all that some innovation is coming with Venus conjunct Uranus. Thank you, Rachel. Be open to new dreams that could happen for you. And I also want to just express so much gratitude for those of you who, when, you know, I'm a Virgo, I'm a perfectionist, and I'm like, gosh, I'm not showing up, and it's not perfect every day, and it's not at the same time every day. And it's funny, the more I lean into my feminine energy, the more I like start unsubscribing from like, no, I don't have to show up at the same time every day. It doesn't have to be structured. It doesn't have to be the TV news model that I was like really ingrained in for almost 10 years. So thank you, Corby. She says, I love that you are following what is best for you. We honor it and you for how you've shown up for us thus far. I appreciate you. We support you and honor this evolving space. Love that you're following your intuitive path. And truly, I feel like what we've created together is its own entity almost, you know? And so I want to really honor that and do what's best for not just me as the like, you know, face of the space, that rhymed, but also what's best for all of us as a community. So we're getting the most value out of our time here together. Thank you, Rachel. We will work with you and always support you. I'm so proud of you. Y'all, when this goes big, when my astrology show is on network TV with a full crew producing it, and I just get to show up and go into hair and makeup and walk on set and talk about astrology, we're calling that in, okay? Today's a day of manifestation. We're calling that in. I don't know when. I'm trusting the timing, but one day when I'm making the big bucks, there's going to be a retreat for all of us OGs who started this community together. And we're all just going to be like, remember when we all met each other? And remember when this first started? Do what you got to do. Sure, we'll all roll with it. Thank you, Nick. I am so glad we are all here together. Yes, come on, upgrades to the spiritual journalist world and family. Just made my heart beam. You're all the best. Yes. Pluto and Aquarius, the transformation, I said that really weird, the transformation of the collective, the evolution, the alchemy of our community, and how that ripples out to the collective as a whole. Oh, yes. If there's a live audience, I mean, you're all going to be there. Of course. Of course. Wish you the big bucks in that TV show. One day, some big TV exec is going to realize the power of astrology and be like, look, there's this girl already doing this. Let's just hire her on, pay her millions. It'll happen one day. All right. Enough about my big manifestations, but just know that some changes will be coming. I'm working on changing up the intro and the outro and updating it because, you know, those of you who watch every day, it's pretty outdated at this point. So that's all coming in the next couple months. The timing of it, we will see. Trusting in the timing that the universe provides. trusting in my own intuition as well, and in all of you and all of your ideas and insights, because we've created kind of this collective consciousness between all of us too. So again, those of you who've been here and have ideas or think, oh, this would be helpful for me, or I could see this working really well, I would love to hear it. Reach out to me on Instagram is the easiest way, through DMs. Or I think you can find my email on YouTube or something, and let me know if you have any ideas. All right, with that being said, thank you, Katie. I love this community. I gotta go. Thanks, Terry. Gotta go get my hair cut, y'all. So when you see me next, I'm gonna be refreshed. Hopefully won't look drastically different, trusting in the timing that I just happened to plan my haircut on this day. And just beaming so much love to each and every one of you who continues to show up for yourself, who continues to show up for this community. You are all so magical, so special, and I'm excited to see what shakeups the universe is bringing each and every one of us on this very potent, transformative day. Thank you, Nick. I will be back tomorrow to talk through the energy of this weekend, so I will see you then. But until I see you next, whenever that might be, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.